how has Castle Pines communication and engagement strategy evolved since the start of the pandemic?
Um, so first, all I think all these three questions are great, and as Petula said, I would very much look forward to learning from what others do. I should qualify my answers, and you'll understand why I'm qualifying it. In Colorado, municipalities don't, except for probably Denver, the larger ones, Denver, Aurora, and Colorado Springs, really don't deal with human services, social services issues. So one thing that I think the pandemic has done is really had us break out of our normal environment of what we're legally responsible for, because I think a lot of what these questions get to is about human beings individually and the fact that we're social animals, and and that disconnect that you have within the community, in some areas of the community where those people are feeling lost, they're feeling alone, they're scared, they lost their job, whatever that environment is for them. It's how do you, as a local government that doesn't normally deal in those issues, how do you not say that's not my responsibility, but actually start to engage and learn very quickly about how to ensure that those people get the support that they need and do feel engaged. And that's a microcosm of the total of the question. But just again, that clarification, at least for Colorado, because I realize on a national level, roles and responsibilities are different across state lines. For us, similar to probably everyone watching this, and certainly on the panel, we very quickly moved to virtual meetings. And interestingly, for us, really out of the gate of those virtual meetings, we had a fairly controversial issue, and we were accused of not being transparent and kind of approving these things under the rug, if you will, while everybody was locked down at home with COVID or during COVID. But at the same time, what was happening was, because we were virtual, and I'll be interested again to see what others say, the number of people who participated in our meetings went up substantially. Now, that might be from 2 people to 8 people, but on a percentage basis, that's huge, because normally we're a community of about 12,000 people. I probably should have opened with that. So to have 2 or 3 people at a council meeting, we had the pom poms out and we were super excited. But then if we could get 10 or 20 people virtually, we still didn't see a huge increase in the number of people who wanted to speak. But in watching the people who had logged on to the meeting, most of them would stay statistically over the last 7 months or so. Most of them stay really till the end of the meeting. And so from a from an engagement standpoint, we see that as a positive, in the sense that there are more people now watching what's happening at the city council, understanding what those issues are, and having that opportunity to communicate. Um, so obviously that was probably for us the biggest thing, was just the shift in our public meetings going virtual, allowing more people to easily engage. And I should say that the accusations of doing things under the rug quickly fell by the wayside, as people realized that in reality, being locked at home with them sitting on their whatever tool you happen to use to look at the internet, it was super easy just to click on this council meeting. So if anything, more people were aware of what council was doing, not fewer. But it was just kind of ironic, at least to me. Other things that we've done, several council members, including our mayor, I think have increased the number of outreach meetings that they've done, just in terms of them individually. So we have our mayor, her name is Tara Radloff. So she has Tuesdays with Tara, Thursdays with Tara, tries to fluctuate the time. But overall, we're seeing um, more communication in the virtual realm, allowing people to create feedback and interact with our elected officials and staff, obviously, as well. Um, the other thing we're really cognizant of here is that, at least our belief and approach is, that it is not government's responsibility, or nor should it necessarily be, that we are creating the true sense of community in that fashion. And that is probably something that you could delve into deeper. But ultimately, we want to ensure, as I opened with, that if there are people who aren't feeling connected or have needs in whatever fashion, that we provide an opportunity, A, to know about it, and then B, to do something about it. And so we've got, like everyone, I assume, next door is a huge social media, along with Facebook and Instagram and whatever else is out there. And really what we've seen in our community is those platforms, not a government platform, but those private sector platforms have really become the place where people are communicating with each other in all the positive and negative, and mainly negative, obviously, during the election process, all the rhetoric that goes around that. But there's also a lot of, hey, can somebody help me with this, or my power went out, and seems to really have built more localized sense of community. And it's a lot of who's on the block that they may not have known before, and they see that name and then, oh, I'm going to go pick something up because you've got that proverbial gallon of milk or that cup of sugar, and I'm going to help out my neighbor. So less related to the government, but more just the natural coming together that the citizens are doing on their own, utilizing these social medias, is something that we've seen a lot of. And then obviously we push out our information over those social medias. But Matt was opening with, nobody solved this engagement issue over the last 30 years. I don't think we truly ever will. We are not successful and haven't been successful at bringing people onto our social platform. So we've been spending some time in the last month or two trying to figure out, how do we engage with the citizens on the various platforms that they choose to be engaged in? And how do we do that in a positive way, given the mass amount of negative posts that statistically are out there versus kind of the positive ones. But the summary to your question, I think, is we are continuing to learn about how the internet and social softwares and social platforms are changing how we communicate. And the other thing we're doing is, and then I'll end here so I don't take up all the time, is we're trying to do more virtual events where people can see each other on multiple screens so that they have that sense of community. During the summertime, we were able to have more outdoor events. We're now doing like the Grinch on Christmas, where everybody can see each other. We had people come and pick up little Grinch bags. And then the actual event is virtual in there. So to the extent that we can bring people together, even in that virtual environment, because our core belief is we are, as human beings, we need to have that human interaction and connection with each other. And to the extent that the government can assist in that facilitation and make that happen, that's been our primary focus. Thanks, Matt.
I think that's really helpful. I love the fact that you brought up the human aspect of it. Does Castle Rock have a pretty active civic organization around town?
We do not really overall. We were started as a bedroom community in the county, and then we incorporated. We're the newest city in the state of Colorado. We incorporated about 12 years ago. So it's kind of interesting, that question, because our internal local motto from the municipality is we are creating the community of Castle Pines. And it's not coming from the place of ego saying we know what the community is. It's the fact that we don't have that sense of community. What people have is their individual subdivisions or their cul-de-sac that they consider their community. When I got here, people introduced themselves from what HOA they were from.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody actually said I'm from the city of Castle Pines. So our goal and focus is to get people to see the value of the community as a whole and all people within that community, so that they start to say, hi, I'm Michael Penny. I'm from the city of Castle Pines, not I'm from HOA X, Y, and Z.
Gotcha.
And so there's these pockets, but nothing kind of on the community level. The other thing is we're about half built out, and we're just exploding on an entire different side of an eight lane highway, which for a lot of people, they don't even realize or understand or comprehend, or the paradigm shift hasn't happened, that that's part of their community. Oh. I think they see it as another community.
Yeah.
And so we've really been working on this cohesion, making sure that we don't create us and thems and all the dynamics that this group is keenly aware of.